everyone. Welcome back to the GS Bowl, and for the fourth day of this test match between England and Pakistan that seems to have been going on forever, hasn't it? Bad light actually wrecked all of yesterday. There was no play possible at all, and at the moment we've got the floodlights on, we've got low cloud. We do at least have the players out there warming up and practicing, and we're told that if it isn't raining by 11 o'clock, the light is good enough for there to be some play. The trouble is, looking round over my right hand shoulder, I can see some awful dark clouds brewing. There are storms coming up from France, and we think that there is going to be some rain. We're going to be joined by Thomas Schaffenacker yesterday, who I think delivered the most gloomy weather forecast for a day's test cricket that I've heard in 30 years yesterday. We'll see if he's right or if he's wrong. But it was horrible. It was said basically there was going to be like that for 3 days. We shall see. They're experts, these people, and I suspect he'll be proved to be right. But at the moment, we will get play starting in 15 minutes, subject to everything being okay. And we're told at the moment the light is all right, although it's pretty borderline. And I can see umpire Saggers, who's the fourth man, with his arms folded, watching England warming up there. But he's also, I think, looking behind the hotel. So that's where the weather is coming from, a sort of a southeasterly direction. Thomas Schaffenacker, good morning.
Good morning.
I hardly dare introduce you after what you did to us yesterday. It wasn't your fault.
I know. So you mentioned the weather coming in from the southeast. Absolutely. So at the moment, I would say we're literally about 3 or 4 miles away from the downpours, but with a bit of luck and by the whisker, it may just pass by within a mile of the cricket ground. I mean, that really would be something. It may actually go over Hythe, which is just just to the other side, just a little bit further west. But at the moment, it's
they can have it. That's fine.
They can have it, of course. You don't want it. But then the question is, what's going to happen after that? It may come back again in waves. So we're potentially talking about interruptions within the next sort of hour or so, hour to two. But we'll see. Fingers crossed.
Okay, and if it doesn't rain, what about the cloud?
That's a tricky one. You see, you kind of need to get through the rain and the downpours to clear the cloud, if you see what I mean. So you can't have it both ways. So you're going to have to choose which one you want. But I think sooner or later the rain will come. It will arrive. It will be quite heavy. If it won't be in an hour, it might be in the next 2, 3, 4 hours. Then once that clears, the clouds should break. But with the same token, over the next day or so, we may see a return of this gloom again. So very unpredictable from hour to hour, literally.
Yeah, and what about tomorrow? Dare you peek through the curtains for that one?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a little bit of guesswork. I think if I'm honest with you, the best I can give you is that we are still in the same weather pattern. So this kind of unpredictability will continue. That's the most honest advice I can give you.
Thank you, Thomas, very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well, he's a brave fella for turning up. It's not his fault. But okay, so we might possibly miss the rain. Then we'll watch it going. It'll be to our right in that case, if it passes by up there. But the trouble is, as he was saying, that doesn't mean that the light is going to be right. Mark Ramprakash, good morning.
A very good morning.
We're going to start today in an upbeat mode. We're ready for it. Whatever comes, we're going to go for it today. Azhar, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
I thoroughly enjoyed last night.
Yeah, it was good fun.
I may be 60, but I learnt a lot about bowling last night, and it was terrific, of a practical type as well. So that was great. Or slower balls, and you should have seen Ramps. I'll tell you what, if I'd bowled at you, as I was taught last night, all those years ago, when you got that 100 of us at Grace Road, I don't think you'd have any chance at all. You'd have been skewered by a slower ball. LBW Agnew, 8.
There's every chance. Mind you, I missed plenty of straight ones, Zaggers, so, that'd do.
Didn't miss any that day. But anyway, well, let's just hope, because we're going to have 98 overs today and tomorrow. I mean, is there any way this game could move on? I mean, here's a thought. Pakistan need to win. They're 1-0 down, and there's one test to go. Could they, I'm looking at the time, they've still got, I reckon, 15 seconds in which to declare and put England in these conditions. What do you reckon, Azhar?
There's no chance.
You don't think?
No. Knowing Azhar Ali, there's no chance. He wants to get another 15-20 runs.
Does he?
Yeah.
But would that really make a difference to their cause rather than bowling at England in this weather?
Maybe bowl England out for 100 and get 240 in this innings and then bowl England out for 100 and then go and have a quick look again.
Okay.
You never know.
Right. Well, I think we can probably safely bet that the declaration hasn't happened because it's just past 10:50 now, and you had to give that 10-minute warning to the team before doing that. Mark, any solutions? What do you see happening here? I mean, England are 1-0 up, so they're just take what comes, aren't they? I mean, you always want to win a game, of course.
Yes, well, and you say that, and Joe Root and Ben Stokes, obviously he's not here at the moment, but they constantly talk about trying to move the game forward and trying to get a result. I think both sides have got to be very, very careful here, not to be complacent and think, well, just the weather will just take care of the game naturally. And as a professional, I think you've got to be very wary of slipping into a complacent mindset in that regard. And if Pakistan come out and play a few shots and add a quick 20-25, then England have got work to do. They've got to be very professional and the way that they approach their innings, because if they think, well, we're going to struggle to win this game, they might go into their shell. Abbas bowls lots of overs, perhaps the scoreboard doesn't move along, and suddenly you lose 2 or 3 and you're wobbling and you find yourself in a bit of a hole. So this is a pitch that everybody is saying that the ball has moved around and things can happen quickly. It's had really good pace and bounce and carry. And if England had taken their chances, Pakistan could have been bowled out for a very cheap score. So, if Pakistan come out and bowl well, whenever that is, bowl well, catch well, then England could find themselves on the back foot.
Yeah. Well, still at the moment, we don't have rain, and it's looking pretty dark to the right there, but hopefully that's not going to come. That's the sound that we like, because that is the cover being taken away. The stumps are in position, so they're not going to put that cover over the pitch. There we go. They were up very early. You were in the next door room to me, Mark. Did you hear them at 6 o'clock this morning? They were working out there.
I did. It wasn't welcome.
It was a bit noisy, but it was, the sun was shining too. I thought, what's going on out there? And I peeled back the curtains. It was a beautiful morning at 6 o'clock, and there were the ground staff out there already doing their bit to try and get the surface and everything ready to go, and the pitch rolled. They've got to get all of that done. So well done them for being out there on duty quite so early. The pitch still has a green tinge to it, inevitably. It was under those covers all day yesterday. They never came off. And so slowly that hover cover is being dragged away over to the left towards the groundsman's quarters. And let's hope we don't see it again today. I think that's being very optimistic. But off it goes, and let's hope that it stays over there for some time anyway. England have actually got into their whites, which again they didn't do yesterday. There was a solid procession from that end to this and back again of the cricketers. They didn't know what to do either, really. They've got an entertainment room here in the bubble where they can go. They've got a golf simulator, I think a Formula One sort of racing car simulator, a darts board, I suppose. It's all the inevitable things that you have there to keep yourselves it's something to do, really. I mean, we just sort of potted about, really. There isn't a lot that you can do here. So everybody I know is just delighted that we are going to have some cricket. And it was a long old day yesterday. Let's hope that we get plenty of action today. England look as if they can't wait to get going. They're all gathered on the boundary down there. There's no sign of the umpires yet, who are located on the left-hand side of the pavilion as we look. And a reminder of the situation, it's worth actually telling you, Pakistan are 223 for 9. And, of course, Mohammad Rizwan has played really well in this innings of his so far. And he'll resume on 60. He's faced 116 balls. He's got Naseem Shah, the number 11, with him. And England just got to ruthlessly knock one of those two over. Presumably they'll be really focusing on the number 11, making sure that he gets as much strike as possible and so on, and then get batting. And then that challenge is going to be for England's openers, Messrs Burns and Sibley. It'll be a really interesting, probing assessment of their technique, I think, Mark, won't it? The Abbas particularly.
Well, all through this series, you're going to see these matchups, which is the Sibley-Burns partnership versus Abbas and probably Shaheen at the other end. But the Abbas one is really interesting because it's just a war of attrition. Both batsmen are, fairly conservative, very much in the traditional role of Test match openers, and Abbas is probably the most accurate international bowler around, in that he just doesn't leave a good length. So these are great conditions for him to bowl in, and England are never really going to get off to a flyer. So it is very much an attritional. I mean, looking out at the pitch. We are on the fourth day, aren't we? We sort of lose track, don't we, in the bubble? It was a groundhog day, but the footmarks look a lot whiter. I mean, Ollie Pope gave a good interview actually talking about the pitch and the conditions, and saying that the ball looked like it was coming on to play shots. But at the same time, we know that it had, with that swing and seam, it had good carry towards the slip cordon as well. So look, I think it's game on. I really do. I don't think England can afford to be complacent in any way, shape or form. I mean, of course, there is another permutation. If captains in the old days, Aggers, when we used to play, captains were creative, and perhaps the Pakistani captain could have gone to Joe Root and said, well, look, okay, throw up another 15 and you can chase 240, forfeit, and chase 240.
That sounds familiar.
Well, Pakistan 1-0 down. I mean, I know it's a bit far-fetched, but...
Well, I suppose the difference is that England are 1-0 up. And in those days of three-day championship cricket, both sides needed to win. They needed the points. Yes. So you both had to collude. Is that too strong a term for it? I mean, you had to
negotiate.
Come to an agreement. That's a better term. That's a better term. But going back to that game that undoubtedly you're referring to at Centurion all those years ago, if it hadn't been for the money and the leather jacket, it would have felt like a fantastic thing that had been done to have created a match in a dead series. That also was, of course, the point. South Africa had won the series already, but anyway, those are the... Yeah, I suspect people would throw up accusations of match fixing now, wouldn't they? Because it doesn't happen so much in four-day cricket.
I'm sure they would, but it does fit, with the modern-day cricketers. They like to play with a purpose, and they like to play for a result. Yeah. And so it kind of does fit into their mindset, and particularly Joe Root. I think he's been influenced greatly by the leadership of Owen Morgan in the one-day side, and really wanting to take a positive attitude towards the game. I think we can see that in England's selections, and trying to win games, pick the right team for the surface, and always coming out. It's going to be difficult, I know, with the weather, but I mean, England. If it just would be really interesting to see if Azhar Ali went over there and said, "Look, hey, 240, do you fancy it or not?"
Yes.
What would you do?
I've got a question for you, and I know that if you went to Phil Tufnell and asked him this question, what the answer would be. I know if you were to ask me this question what the answer would be, but I'm going to put it to you as a batsman. Who would you rather face with the new ball opening the batting for England? Would you rather face Shaheen or Mohammad Abbas?
Undoubtedly Shaheen.
See, we would both say Mohammad Abbas because he's not going to hurt you. but there's the technical batsman, isn't it? He's the one who's going to make it difficult.
Yeah, Shaheen is also a brilliant bowler, swing the ball both ways and hitting good areas. He's for last, I think, year or so, he's been very accurate and he's getting people out with the new ball.
I'm thinking purely in terms of my physical well-being. And I know what Tuffers would say as well. Well, look at this. We've got figures in white in front of us on a very green outfield, quite damp, but no rain is falling. The floodlights are on, very dark cloud overhead. But if you are over just to the south and the west of us, I suspect you are getting very wet at the moment, but it's not raining here, and can't guarantee that's going to be the case for long. All these radars and so on, they give you a slightly different picture, and you again end up looking for the forecast and the radar that you want, which is obviously showing that it's not going to rain. But I'm just looking, I can see exactly what Thomas is saying there, that at the moment the tracking radar that I have shows literally the rain just skirting to the south, but there is some behind it that I don't think we are going to miss, but it's a question of how far away that is. Anyway, let's ignore that. There's a new ball due in 4 overs. No, it's not. That's already been taken. 223 for 9 is the score. And we've got James Anderson, who's going to bowl from this end. And he's going to bowl to Rizwan, who's playing a lot of shots down there. He's got Naseem Shah waiting here at the non-strikers end. And despite the fact that we lost all that time yesterday, we've got a bit of waiting here. The groundsman's coming on with a bucket. And now, see, why wasn't this done? Why wasn't it done? Well, they were here at 6 o'clock this morning, frankly. He's got a yellow bucket, and we know what he's going to do. He's going to put some sawdust down. There we go. So, after all of that, because, you know, Anderson likes to have this sawdust, and he puts it actually in his run-up. So now, with everyone ready, we've now got this slightly absurd sight of the groundsman with a bucket running around and putting out the sawdust that surely could have been done earlier. Michael Vaughan's alongside. It's been one of those frustrating couple of days. How do you explain that?
Good morning. I get the feeling that the ground staff are taking the mick out of us.
Yeah.
I think they've listened and probably read quite a lot of the negative comments surrounding their lack of intent yesterday. It's as if they're getting their own back.
He's away on his toes now with his bucket, heading off towards the shed to the left. And now we're going to have the first ball of this fourth day, having had nothing at all yesterday. Anderson's got that run-up marked out. Every step has got some sawdust in it. There's 3 slips. Deep square leg, long leg. And Anderson's on his way to bowl to the right-handed Rizwan, who played very well. He's down the pitch having a huge swipe at that first ball. That could have gone anywhere. In fact, end up in Butler's gloves. But, well, that might have come somewhere over our heads had he got at the middle of the bat on it, an edge on it, and it would have gone flying through third man somewhere. But that'll make Joe Root think a bit about the field.
Yeah, I didn't mind that theory, actually, because Jimmy Anderson, you know that he's going to be on and around that decent length, so he just gambled.
Yeah.
I thought, right, I'll try and meet it a little bit sooner.
Well, I think they had a go. But, only met with fresh air. Anderson again bowls shorter, and Rizwan's on the back foot, playing out to point. You say you don't mind that, but if you saw Dom Sibley doing that when he's opening the batting against Mohammed Abbas, you might.
No,
not
it's
say
different scenarios. Rizwan's clearly been given the licence, as he should be with this situation. With the field as it is, as you said, if he'd got anything on it, it'd have gone over those 3 slips, and then the next ball, Jimmy Anderson bowled shorter. So let's see what this ball. Will he dance down again, gamble once more that the ball before was shorter?
I think
Jimmy
if
will try
Sibley,
and pitch it up. Yeah, Sibley, I don't think he's got it.
Well, I think if Sibley were to do it, we'd send him straight to that testing centre that we were at this morning again. In goes Anderson, bowls on the off stump, and this time a defensive probe, a prodding shot from Rizwan misses the outside edge. Is collected by Joss Butler. Good morning, Andy Zoltzman.
Morning, Agus.
You had a bad day yesterday. You were very particularly grumpy yesterday. I'm not surprised. I don't blame you.
I just love cricket, Agus.
I know.
Any day without cricket is it's a sad day in my life. I've been crunching the database, and I believe that's the first time, the first ball of the day, a batsman's danced down the wicket and tried to mow a 500-wicket bowler over deep mid-wicket.
Is it? I'll take your word for that. I suspect you're probably right. 2:23 for 9. Anderson moves in, bowls to Rizwan, who misses that by a long way. Moved off the seam, kept a little bit low, and again collected by Butler. And Broad's loosening
I
up.
must admit, last night, Agus, we were sat in the boundary bar, and there was a game of cricket going on outside, and it was, Andy, it was Adam, Tim Peach was involved in our team, and Andy was like my son, that when the ball gets lost, which he did on a couple, I think Simon Mann hit the ball over the fence and kind of
Simon
lost.
Mann did?
I think he did, yeah, but I believe so. I know it's surprising. Andy was like that 10-year-old that came in almost tears in his eyes.
Oh no. Anderson bowls, pushed away into the offside, going for that quick single. Very slow setting off. Dear me, Naseem Shah there. He should have been more alert to that. That was the 4th ball of the over. 5th ball, in fact. I think he would have been run out there. Crawley hit the stumps. Very slow setting off.
He didn't quite read it there, did he?
No, he didn't.
Naseem, I'm sure Rizwan would have said, look, if I hit it, I'm going to have to come, because we're getting towards the end of the over. That would have been...
His
bat was in the
miles
air,
out.
his legs were in the air.
All over the place there.
How not to ground your bat was that technique by Naseem Shah.
He's got 1 ball to face. It was a nice evening. It was, again, one of those things that you try and make your own entertainment in the bubble. And so I had a lovely half hour with Azhar Mahmood teaching me how to bowl a slower ball out of the top of the hand. You know what comes out of the back? Brilliant. A bit stiff this morning. In goes Anderson, bowls outside the off stump, a grope from Naseem. And he survives. It's collected by Butler. But there was Wasim Akram was bowling.
Yeah,
Shane Warne was bowling.
I think he got dispatched, didn't he, Warner?
Apparently.
Wasim got dispatched.
Yeah, apparently our producer put him away.
He's back on the groundsman.
Here he comes. Obviously handing over now. Something he's giving to the umpire. Something white. Maybe it's the bowling marker, is it? A white bowling marker? It could be that. He's heading off again anyway. And it's an ominous sign because the ground staff haven't actually repaired. Normally at this stage you'd expect they've been working very hard. They might be having a cup of tea in the groundsman's shed, but they're actually sitting on the cover.
I think it was a marker for Michael Goff to, you have bowling markers where the bowlers run up, put a marker down. Generally it's a spray these days, but I think it was a marker for his marker position.
Okay.
He put it down on the ground where he's been standing.
That's
I've seen
curious.
that before.
Yeah. 2:24 for 9. Welcome to the Ageas Bowl. We have got some cricket. We don't know for how long or how much we will have, but at the moment at least, the light is good enough for play, and it isn't raining here. It's raining just up the road.
I have to say, Agus, last night when Azza was trying to teach you how to bowl
Yeah.
that slow ball, your face, you were like Andy Zaltzman being a little kid.
I know.
Learning, but you couldn't get it for a while, could you? You were trying it with your hand,
I was
you
trying to
couldn't
get
work out your
where
hands.
the wrist came from.
Yeah.
It's really good. But I mean, we watched Jade Dern back, and others bowling this ball, and I've marvelled at it. Because how do they do it? How particularly do they hit the length? And the ball's coming out of the top of the hand like that. In comes Broad, bowls outside the off stump.
Now, I'll ask you a question because you were struggling on the sofa to get a grip, and then all of a sudden you went to the toilet, and then you came back and you went, I've got it. I've got it.
Well-
now, were you trying to master it in the mirror in the toilet?
I might have had a few minutes in there. It was brilliant. It was brilliant. Of course, these innovations we never had when I was playing. It's just so interesting to have just that moment when you can sit down with someone like Azza, who's so good at A, at bowling it, and B, at coaching it. In comes Broad, bowls, comes cutting back and hits Rizwan round about the thigh. It's fielded by Sibley. If it does rain, we're going to have Azza. He's going to give people, all of you out there in club cricket land, a lesson as well on how you do it, how you do use your wrists, all the concealment. Won't be easy on the radio, I'll grant you, but it's better than, I don't know, playing classical music when it's raining or something like we used to do. So we'll give that a go.
Is that what used to happen?
Oh yeah, sorry everyone, it's raining here. Back to Radio 3, and they'll play Beethoven or something. Here's Broad from the far end, bowls very wide and a swipe from Rizwan. And again, there's a furious shot, but he's missed it completely.
We're only 9 balls in, but already you've seen a huge amount of movement. Lots of seam movement. The previous ball nipped back into Rizwan. That was wide, but it was certainly swinging and swung a little bit wider.
Yeah, definitely movement there. Can't wait to see England batting. These bowlers with a new ball using these conditions against England's opening batsmen will be fascinating. Broad, that bandana strapped to his forehead, bowls. Rizwan's pushed out of the way to cover. So that's 4 balls gone. Now, is Root going to take one of those slips out and put him into mid-wicket maybe? Something just to stop the push and run? Not sure that he is quite. Oh, Sibley's coming out, and he's not going to field at Sibley. He's coming into the offside.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Rizwan to see if he's had any conversation with Naseem Shah. He hasn't said anything to him. Let's see the youngster at the non-strikers then. Will he back up a little bit more?
He would have been out by 2 or 3 yards the previous over. 2:24 for 9. So we've got Sibley quite close there at point, just to stop that push and run. And as we know, he's got a deadly arm these days. Broad's on his way, bowls the right-handed Rizwan, who steps across into the offside, gets hit on the pad, and they go shuffle through for a leg by, the ball dribbling away to backward square leg. So he has got the single that he wanted, and Naseem Shah has got just the 1 ball, and it's not pressure on the bowler, but it's just that temptation to try a bit too hard when you've got 1 ball at the number 11.
Well, the ball that he faced off Jimmy Anderson, he just played the forward defence before the ball got down there.
Yeah.
I think he's made his mind up that that's the shot he's going to play. I'm very intrigued to see if he just goes early again with that forward defensive stroke.
What if he does? I think like putting a helmet in there and seeking out the grill. 2:25 for 9. Broad's on his way now, and he bowls to Naseem Shah, who missed that by about 3 feet. Wasn't really playing at it. And Broad will be cross because it was wide of the off stump and not threatening. So you know you've only got that 1 ball. You just tighten up that little bit, trying too hard in a way. That's why they desperately want to start an over at him. You can run up, you can bowl the full over, you can set him up, you can bowl a couple of short balls.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the field here, so there'll be 3 slips, and I think it's Dominic Best at backward point, but he's about 15 yards behind. Because Rizwan's probably going to get quite a lot of bat speed on the shot. I'd have him down at third man catching that top edge.
In goes Anderson, bowls to Rizwan, and that hits him on the thigh pad. Well, they might have taken a leg by there.
I think it's missed the thigh pad.
Yes, it's a stinger.
He's rubbing his backside.
Just nipped the flesh, I think. 2:25 for 9. So anyway, it was a nice night last night, and I think the highlight for me was it was Tim Peach, the television liaison person, producer, whose responsibility it was to provide the curry last night. It was quite late, wasn't it? It was quite late coming. As presumably he had to get through to penetrate the bubble. In goes Anderson, bowls. Oh, inside edge. And will they get 2 here? They certainly want to. Rizwan's very quick. He's got his head down, almost collides with Anderson. As Curran throws it back from the deep, they have got 2 runs. So well run. 2:27 for 9. And it is fiercely competitive, as you know. Very competitive indeed. So to see poor Tim Peach, who's the host of the evening, have to resort to steal a slice of pizza from our friends on Sky next door because he was so hungry, that I'm afraid again will count against him. But he did at least identify all the dishes. So that I think probably again moves him a point above our previous host. What should I say? Hostess. In goes Anderson again over the wicket. Bowls, defended by Rizwan, and pushed away into the offside. But it was very good.
Yeah, midnight feasts are nice though, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all right. It's a bit, I don't know, sleeping on a curry at midnight is a bit. But when it arrived, it was good. But no, for me, it was the coaching session, coaching clinic at Azhar Mahmood outside in the dark. Brilliant. Anderson wraps his fingers round the ball, sets off again. The runway clearly marked there by the sawdust. Over the wicket he goes, and well, Rizwan's beaten there by quite a long way again, if I'm honest. I think he might just have kept the bat inside the line of the ball. It's a good length round about the off stump, and Rizwan goes gardening.
It's just that in between then, isn't it? It looks really nice, but it's beaten the outside edge by 2 or 3 inches.
Yeah.
You do have to be that little bit fuller. It might offer an opportunity for Rizwan to play a glorious drive, but it's more chance of finding the outside edge. That third slip's been taken out again, simply at cover point.
Actually position that deep gully. So he'll be looking for a single here. Anderson on his way, moves in, bowls. Oh, he comes down, he's launched him. A scything stroke, almost a helicopter shot, since we're talking about MS Dhoni. And the ball runs towards third man, and it does go for 4. But yeah, he took in the field having come in close. He went for the boundary option, and he got it too. So it goes to 67. Now he'll look for the single.
Yeah, that's where the ball's going to go. When you're playing with that much bat speed, and the ball's team right, is going to go down to that vacant space. I'd leave him down there. I think it's an attacking catching position.
Anderson rubs the ball hard at the back of his trousers, perhaps a little bit of dampness on the outfield. So there's 1 slip. Burns is now coming to mid-wicket, and they desperately here want to keep Rizwan down at that end. No, Anderson is now sending Burns back to second slip, so he's got to make sure he doesn't just poke one into the leg side here. Where's he going to bowl it? Can't bowl it too straight because he'll get across and nudge it into that side. Anderson on his way, moves in, bowls to him. Oh, it's gone straight through. Very full ball again that moved away. And Rizwan tried to drive it, missed it, and now Stuart Broad will have, or should have, a complete over at Naseem, try and knock him over. Brian in Cheltenham, why oh why could play not start at 10 o'clock this morning when there are no crowds and transport to consider and everyone's already on site? We'll probably lose time this evening, so why not make it up this morning? Brian, we said exactly the same thing however many test matches it was ago. It makes no sense, does it? We are all here. Everybody who needs to be here is here.
Well, I think we've got it reasonable to those that put it on that, you know, this is new times, and maybe if we are in this position again in the winter or next summer, maybe that is the one area that we could learn from, and that could happen.
We start at 10 o'clock.
We could start at 9 o'clock, we're all here.
Yeah.
Play till 8:30.
Up comes Broad then, he bowls to Naseem Shah. It's outside the off stump. It's a very curious, I suspect it's probably a defensive shot. That's hard to tell. And Rizwan didn't like the look of it very much. He's coming down having a word with the number 11.
No, I think it's odds on that if Stuart Broad gets one straight, not so sure Nassim's technique is going to survive it. It was quite ironic, though, that the TMS game of cricket, there was a period where they did delay it for bad light. Ironic.
Was there?
They came in a bit bad light.
Right. Well, they're probably hoping the food would have arrived by then, are they? In comes Broad over the wicket. Bowles, and Nassim does get some bat on this, pushing away to mid-wicket. And Pope fields. The earlier defensive shot was interesting because, having seen the replay, you know, you're taught obviously to put the front foot to the pitch of the ball and play. Well, Nassim put his back foot to the pitch of the ball and play. I've not seen that before. Alternative defensive stroke. Broad will be cross if he doesn't knock him over, because he doesn't really seem to have the skill required to survive 6 balls of Broad. He's over his bat now. So something rather exciting about watching a completely hapless number 11. 2:31 for 9. Broad comes in, bowls to him, it's outside the off stump. Again, he gropes towards it without really truly offering the bat. But that's 3 balls gone.
Yeah, we're disappointed. Stuart Broad, he's had 4 balls. Nassim Shah, 1 in the last over and 3 in this over, and he's only made him play 1. 25% so far. He's working on.
Oh, full marks to Thomas Schaffernacker. I'm looking at a horrible radar picture there, yellows and purples and all sorts of things, but it's just hanging to the south of us. In comes Broad. Bowles. Oh, it's gone straight through him. Beautiful ball. I'm afraid way too good for our old friend Nassim, who again groped in the vague direction of the ball, which moved away cruelly. And so he missed it, and he's got a big smile on his face, and so too is Rizwan, saying, come on, you've done 4 balls. Goodness knows how you have, frankly. But that one was an absolute beauty.
He's getting confused with his feet.
They're all over the place.
Yeah, well, that right foot, which should stay back, he's coming forward, and his left foot, which should go forward, is staying back.
Yeah.
What was that guy's name again? Who's that?
Thomas Schaffernacker.
Schaffernacker?
Yeah, he's one of the top BBC weather forecasters. He's spot on with this. Broad on his way over the wicket, bowls, and seems hit on the pad. Oh, Broad's going to be cross.
Well, this is going to be remarkable. If Nassim Shah can survive an over against Stuart Broad in these conditions, Rizwan's coming down saying, come on, you've got 1 to go, come on. The gloves have been met. A little fist pump.
I do like Rizwan. He looks a real character to me, a typical chirpy wicket-keeper batsman who winds people up when he's out there a bit. He's got a great smile. And I think, well, he's just keeping his fingers crossed that somehow Nassim survives this ball. Broad on his way. There's 3 slips. Bowling to the right-handed Nassim Shah. Oh, it's way outside the off stump. And Broad will be very disappointed with that over. All things considered, there was one beauty in it. It was far too good. And Rizwan's coming down. He's punching his fist. He's saying, well done. He's got a big smile on his face. Nassim's saying, how did I do that? And Rizwan's saying, I don't know. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You've done it.
Looking at England's field now, the Rizwan. What have they got? They're going to go 3 slips. Keep on about the 3rd man, because you might as well have him catching, because he's not going to take the singles for the first few deliveries.
I might drop back a bit here.
Yeah, just
because he's going to have a swipe.
Yeah, definitely.
Or at least the way he's played up to now suggests he will do. Anderson goes in, bowls to him. Oh, that's gone a long way off the seam. Really did. There'll be some rather anxious batsmen in that slip cordon, particularly at numbers 2 and 3. The opening batsman looking at this.
Well, you've also got Zach Crawley at 3, coming back into the side.
Yeah.
Jet Root at 4. He's been playing okay, but he's not had the big scores. You do start looking at the surface and the conditions, in particular Mohamed Abbas, and think, this is going to be a challenge.
Isn't it funny how commentators think alike? I'm looking at the TV screen, who are they focused on? Burns and Sibley. Outside the off stump, and a swipe and a miss from Rizwan, very wide. Yeah, he's a very belligerent follow through, puts a lot into it.
But again, that shot, I guess, if that edge is found, it's going to fly down. That 3rd man region. I'm amazed that Jimmy Anderson's not thinking.
Broody looking clouds overhead. Some lighter, the dark stuff is higher actually. Anderson bowls short, and Rizwan's played that beautifully off the back foot. Not a good ball, and some width as well. And Rizwan's absolutely picked the gap. It moves to 71.
Well, it's some innings this, Agus, because conditions are so in favour of the ball. Glorious shot, it's short, but it's the way that he just lets it get to him. And then he just uses that bottom hand just to kind of give it a bit of oomph. Wonderful timing. Opens the blade as well to find the gap.
Anderson again moves in bowls and is punched away by Rizwan down to mid-on. So 20 minutes gone and no interruptions so far, at least. Andy Zaltzman.
Rizwan's innings 71 now is the joint 5th highest by a Pakistan wicketkeeper in England. Just 9 50-plus scores by Pakistan wicketkeepers in England. This is their 55th test in this country.
Isha's looking anxious. If you're right, Isha. Thomas Schaffenegger says we're OK for now. There's a bit coming on the radar, though, I think. Anyway, in goes Anderson again over the wicket. Bowls, and that's pushed away for the single that they wanted. Well, I think Root will be saying, come on. I put the man there in the last over. And now Anderson will have one delivery.
But you've got to say that, because with 2 balls to go in the over, England must be concerned about the runs, because you just bring square leg up for the last 2 balls to save that single. And if he hits a 4, that's kind of null and void. You just want to be making sure that you're bowling.
That's a good point.
To Naseem Shah, the next over. He's now got 1 ball to bowl to Naseem Shah.
And he's on his way. Shah's waiting for him. Bat raised optimistically. Anderson bowls to him. He's tucked it. A beautiful stroke. Tucked it down the fine leg, and he's been denied a run. And that, I tell you, there's nothing crueler for number 11 than play a lovely little shot like that and not to get anything for it. 2:36 for 9. He's coming up for a chat with Rizwan, who's played really well again this morning. 72 not out. That's my 20 minutes completed, Michael. And after some thoughts from you, Isha Goer's coming in here.
And did you have any stats on how many runs tailenders would have got in times like this? Well, clearly Naseem Shah should be on 2 now.
And I mean, it seems unfair, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In baseball, they have earned runs and unearned runs. Maybe cricket needs a metric for spurned runs.
The amount of number 11s that had their runs stolen off them because they have to stay down the non-strikers end.
Pakistan have added 60 for the last 2 wickets.
Here comes Stuart Broad then, bowling from the pavilion end. Rizwan, inside edge out to deep square. Naseem Shah is halfway down the track, he's sent back. As deep square runs in to collect the ball. Well, he was keen to get on strike there, Naseem Shah. And you talked about number 11s. I wonder how many Jack Leach would have scored in that innings last year if he'd have taken all the singles.
Well, he nearly got that 100 at Lords, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, against Ireland. Promoted up the order. There must be a few stories like that, Andy, of Night Watchman coming up the order and scoring big runs as Broad bowls again to Rizwan. It's gone high in the air and it will be caught at cover, in fact. He looked to whip it leg side and it was a comfortable catch. It was hanging in there up against the backdrop of the clouds. Zach Crawley takes it easily. And Rizwan will go for 72. Pakistan all out for 236. So England will be happy with that. They were able to extract that final wicket relatively quickly. And it wasn't the best of deliveries. In fact, it was angled down the leg side. It hit the seam and came back in. And Rizwan looking to turn it off a length. Catches the top edge. And it balloons up, so Dom Sibley disappearing up the purple stairs into the dressing room. And
there's movement down to our left, Isha. You just see that the digital advertising boards are being pushed to one side to get the hover cover low. You could actually see Dom Sibley and Rory Burns when they were running off. They were looking to the left, and there is a big dark cloud just over the back of the golf course, over the Colt ground, cricket ground. So not only do the England Open have to think about this pitch if they get out of them, the movement, you know, that's on and off kind of mentality. It's such a difficult one to deal with. Just gone for the heavy roller as well.
Yeah, you can hear it coming onto the ground now. So England in that innings, 3 for 60 for James Anderson, 4 for 56 for Stuart Broad. He's been outstanding this summer, extends that tally to 26 wickets and an average of 12.8. Simply ridiculous, to be honest. And you think that he missed that first test match. He has been sensational for England, bowling that fuller length. and extracts the final wicket for England. Sam Curran 1 for 44 from his 18, and Chris Woakes 1 for 55 from his 19. So 236. They added a further 13 runs to the scoreboard this morning. Dark and grey skies above, although you see the clouds moving quite quickly from left to right. There was a decent breeze blowing across the ground, lowly lit lights as well here, as the roller is now out on the pitch. Markings being redone by the ground staff as well. And for those of you who want a reminder, yesterday of course no play whatsoever because of the bad light and the mizzle in the air. We'll go through the scorecard for you. So Shan Masood was out for 1. LBW to Anderson, a brilliant delivery from him, shaping back into the left-hander. That was when the score was on 6. Then a partnership formed between Azhar Ali and Abid Ali. They made it to 78 before Azhar Ali went Court Burns, bowled Anderson. Abid Ali followed when the score was on 102. Court Burns bowled Curran. Came into the game. Asad Shafiq was caught Sibley, bowled Broad on 117. And then Fawad Alam, his first match in 11 years, he was out in the middle. Unusual technique. He was out LBW to Woakes for a duck. So disappointment for him as he had to walk back to the pavilion. Yasir Shah, Court Butler bowled Anderson for 5. Shaheen Sharaf Reedy run out, dawdling halfway down the track, and a brilliant run out from Dom Sibley aiming at the stumps when the score was on 176. That was when they were 8 down. Mohammed Abbas fell LBW to Broad. He hung around for a little bit alongside Mohammed Rizwan. Then he started to play his shots. Rizwan made it up to 60 and finished not out a couple of nights ago. And in this innings, ends up going for 72. Mohammed Rizwan, now Court Crawley bowled Broad. So Nasim Shah not out 1.
Yeah, he played nicely, the number 11. But I think this is a very competitive score for Pakistan. Obviously, the lack of time left in the game, it's looking like it's going to be very difficult for either team to force the result. But for Pakistan, they've got to think, right, wickets. Can they bowl England out for 100, 110, something like that? It'll take them to bowl extremely well and take every chance you would feel. For England, can they back the day out and get to something like 300, 320? Gives Pakistan a very nervy last day. Saying that England can get 320 today, but if they can get it to around 320 by an hour into the last day's play, you just never know. Test cricket, in these conditions, the game can escalate quite quickly.
Well, it's days like this where you earn your respect as a batsman, isn't it?
Yes.
Test and examination of your technique, especially with the likes of Mohammed Abbas, who loves bowling in these conditions. Well, you saw him, didn't you, a couple of nights ago?
He was very excited.
Yeah, very excited to get a go on this wicket with the overheads as they are. Slightly cooler here than it was on day 1, where it was humid and muggy. You can see him now just warming up, wearing a long sleeve jumper. Mohammed Abbas bowling to, I think that's Waqar Younis with a glove on.
Shaheen Afridi as well. I mean, he swung it to Old Trafford with a new ball. I'm just looking down to the pitch. It looks to me that Martin Saggers was he waved to the ground stuff? He was waving down to them for something. I don't know what he's waving for them to come and get. I don't know if he wants. I don't know what he's asking for, but one of the young ground staff members is just running off to the hut. I don't know if it's a spade or something, but he wants something out there.
It is looking a little bit brighter over to our left. That's where it's coming from. So hopefully that rain will be staved off. We can see the fielders by the side of the pavilion, just going through their warm-ups. Andy?
Just looking at Pakistan's last 2 wickets. They moved from 176 for 8 to 236 all outs. Added 60 runs. Mohammed Abbas scored 2 from 20. Nasim Shah 1 not out from 10. Rizwan scored 48 of those 60 runs, and there were a few extras. So it's a superb tail marshalling effort from the Pakistan wicketkeeper.
Yeah, he really did a wonderful job. Scored 95, I think, up at Brisbane last winter. He, of course, coming in for Sarfraz, the former captain of the Test side, and wanting to prove a point, but very steely sort of determination to when he is out there in the middle and batting. He's finished 72 not out in the end, 236 all out there in Pakistan. And Azam Mahmood has stepped in. We heard from Jonathan Agnew talking about TMS Curry Club last night. How did you find the food?
Food was excellent. Yeah, as always, when you're stuck somewhere and you want to Asian food and you get food like this, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Tim Peach, I thought he did an excellent job. He was ribbed a little bit for it being late, but at least he paid for it. Pretty sure I paid for mine as well, the one before. Jonathan Agnew, not so sure. I know Michael Vaughan paid for his.
Next week I'm
So
yes,
are you putting a hand up?
Yes, I am, and maybe Friday or Saturday Adam will tell us, and I'm asking the guy who deliver from London, Spice Village food. I love that food, and that's why I can order from here, but this food is special.
Oh right, okay. How quickly do you reckon he can get to us?
Whatever time we will give him. Hopefully, I'm watching last night. Tim was on the phone, and he was under pressure. So looking at that, I will say, you guys come down around 8 o'clock. So I will ask him to come down at 7:30.
Yeah. Well, mine was actually early as well. Mine was early, which
Depending on the traffic of A3.
That's true. Maybe you can come down on a motorbike. I wonder how many dishes you can fit on the back of a motorbike. Anyway, we're just here in the interval at the moment at the Ageas Bowl. It's day 4, and England will be ready to come out and bat very, very shortly. You can see Rory Burns and Dom Sibley just getting themselves ready. Burns just playing with his grip, and now standing and looking out and surveying the field.
Interesting to see how these guys can go on this pitch. Last delivery, if you see, Rizwan got top edge airs. It was on leg stump.
Yeah, it was outside.
Outside leg stump, and seamed a bit. And Rizwan was looking to flick that ball, and went leading edge to covers.
The noise you're hearing is the sound of the heavy roller, which is doing a circle around the infield. It's off the pitch and speeding away towards the hut as Dom Sibley comes down the purple steps of the England dressing room.
Spoke to Shaheen and Abbas yesterday. They were eating the ball on this wicket, and they will test Sibley and Burns' technique, temperament. Looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating passage of play here as the umpires return to the field. Richard Kettleborough with a smile on his face. He was grimacing quite a lot yesterday and looking up to the skies in disbelief because we weren't able to get any play. It is looking quite dark at the moment and gloomy. Grey skies above, ominous looking clouds. But I'm delighted that we can have some action as the Pakistan players sprint onto the field. A lot of energy about them. They've had to wait 4 days to have their first bowl.
They've been well rested.
They have. As we can see Shaheen Shah Afridi walking with purpose. Not sure which end he's going to bowl from. It looks like the northern end. He's got his white wristband on as he marches towards the stumps now, just scratching away at the popping crease where he will be bowling from. Dom Sibley coming to the non-striker's end, and Rory Burns taking his guard. Burns, who has scored 234 runs this summer, an average of 46. And he's just marking his guard on the middle before coming down the pitch and assessing the conditions. A lot of grass on this wicket.
You should look at that Abbas. We talk about Abbas, he's a great bowler with a new ball. Look at this guy. Look at his body language, Shaheen Shah Afridi, and having the first over. So he's a leader in this bowling attack for last year and a half. Every time he got ball in his hand, he mean business. Which is great to see him growing as a cricketer, growing as a bowler, and be more confident what he's doing.
Just rehearsing a few deliveries to mid-off at the moment. 20 years of age and the leader of this attack. He's got 3 slips in a gully in position, a point, a man at extra, no one at mid-off, wideish mid-on, Nasim Shah position there, short leg and a man down at fine leg. Here he is, he's ready to go. Rory Burns sets himself up. Shaheen Shah Afridi pushes away now. First delivery of the innings. Edged and falls in front of second slip. Well, nearly a wicket. First ball, Asad Shafiq diving forwards. It didn't carry. Perfect delivery first up.
Just short of Asad Shafiq. Look at the seam. Excellent seam. It will...
Yeah, we're looking at the replay here. Yeah, it falls just in front on the half volley as Shaheen Shah is now past the umpire again. He bowls and Rory Burns leaves. Lovely shape on the ball, moving away from the left-hander. It's something he's worked tremendously hard on, is that ability to shape it away from the left-hander into the right-hander. Generally gets it going across the right-hander. That's his natural sort of angle. And you were actually talking last night, weren't you, about his foot alignment.
Yeah, foot alignment. We work on that, and now he's working with Waqar. So he worked really hard on this skill. Normally he take the ball away from right-hander, and now he can bring the ball both ways.
The left armour comes in again. Afridi bowls full. Burns drives with caution to mid-on, but gets right in and behind it. Burns had to play at that delivery. Lovely seam, as you mentioned, for that first delivery. Lovely wrist position as well to just allow the ball to shape, as he now has it back in his hand and at the top of his mark gives it a little shine. Shaheen Shah Afridi. Sets himself, assesses his prey. Now he runs away from us. Mop of hair blowing in the wind is Burns edges and taken. Yes. Asad Shafiq. This time it does carry. He's moving to his right and arms aloft for Shaheen Shah Afridi. He's picked up the first wicket in the first over. 0-1 England, as Rory Burns will have to trudge back to the pavilion. We talked about this being testing conditions, and England have failed at the first hurdle.
Same delivery, same result, edge. Good taken by Asad Shafiq. Excellent seam position. Look at the body language of him. He's running in, charging in, pitching the ball up.
Was there anything Burns could have done there? A lovely movement, good length delivery, just outside the line of off. Did he have to play at it? We'll have a look at the replay in just a moment. But Asad Shafiq moving to his right, it wasn't an easy catch. He had to move and almost reach to his right. It was probably shoulder height when he took it. But an excellent catch. He laid on the floor for a little while there.
It's really important, you know, we're talking about testing condition and everything, but Sip Corden need to take any opportunity come in their way. They need to take it. And Asad Shafiq is a brilliant slip fielder.
So Zach Crawley out in the middle, tall frame, probably a similar sort of height to Dom Sibley as they now punch gloves. And tricky circumstances, but this is what you expect when you play here in England. Andy?
It's the 4th duck by an England opener this summer. Sibley's had 2. Josh Buttler had 1 when he was promoted up the order. And now Burns today. Only once previously in an English summer have England's openers had 4 ducks, and that was in the disastrous summer of 1989 when England were hammered 4-0 by Australia.
Zach Crawley spins the bat in his hand, open stance to Shaheen Shah Afridi. He's got 4 slips in position as he pushes away now. Here he comes, he bowls full, struck on the pads, this looks close. Unmoved the umpire, Michael Gough. And Shaheen Shah Afridi immediately turns to his captain. I think he's interested in this. Well, they go for the review. Mohammed Rizwan is signalling down the leg side, but Azhar Ali wants to have a look.
TV umpire to director, we've got a player review for LBW. Original decision is not out. We have a fair delivery, so we can look at front on, please.
Hearing the voice of Richard Illingworth. Pitches
okay,
in
just
line.
roll that back to the edge of the bat. Roll it through.
Is there any bat involved? Doesn't look like there is.
It appears to be no bat involved, but can we confirm that with Ultra Edge, please?
Ultra Edge will tell us whether he's
Just waiting
got
for
an edge on
Ultra
it.
Edge, gentlemen.
Goes past the bat and hits him on the knee roll. It does look like it's going down the leg side.
Okay, we've got a flat line. Roll it through.
So no bat involved.
And we've got a spike next to the...
Oh,
roll
there
it
is.
back, please.
There is a
Okay,
spike.
we've got a spike next to the bat. So we'll go back to Michael on field. Michael, there's a spike when the ball is next to the bat, so stay with your original decision. You're on screen now.
Heart in mouth moment for Zach Crawley.
Good to see. And I was looking anyway. Look down the leg side. You know, maybe pitch down the leg side as well.
So Pakistan lose a review. Crawley sets up once more, still in his crease, taps his bat down a couple of times. Afridi on the charge, bowls, and a leave from Crawley. It bounces and goes over the top of middle stump. Leaves on length for the final ball of the over. But what a sequence of deliveries for Shaheen Shah Afridi. What a start for Pakistan. England 0 for 1.
Yeah, he has to play this ball because of his technique, because his head goes over on offside. He has to play that delivery, and great length, great line. Look at last over, Shaheen Shah Afridi make him play every single delivery.
Simon Mann's going to be coming in here, but I'll just do this delivery from Mohammed Abbas. He's going to have 4 slips in play as well. Point extra cover, mid-on, short leg, and Nasim Shah down at fine leg, about 10 metres off the boundary. Mohammed Abbas, here he comes. Arm swaying from side to side. Sibley struck on the back leg as he hobbles away. Extra bit of bounce off a length there, looking to play straight. He's now crouching down. I wonder where that did hit him. Azhar, you'll be able to tell us as Simon Mann will come in.
Yeah, it's just a bone, tummy's area, hip line bone area. Oh, that's horrible. That's horrible. Painful. Bit of extra bounce. And look at the seam moment after that. He was...
Well, England need 37 to avoid the follow-on. The light meters are coming out, though. Of course they are. A cry of anguish from Andy Zoltzman at the far end of the box. It has got darker. I'm afraid we're fighting an unequal battle, it seems. So the light meters are out there. Sibley is back on his feet. He's playing a few shots. England are 0 for 1. Pakistan all out for 236. It's not going to be easy against this new ball. Pakistan have 4 slips in and a short leg. Here is Mohammed Abbas. Goes in now and bowls to Sibley. And Sibley is forward very carefully there. Playing it way into the offside. Goes out towards cover. And there is no run. Lovely conditions for Mohammed Abbas to bowl in it as long as he gets an extended go at it. That's the thing. It has filled in a bit. It's very dark over the Gears. Well, the lights are on, of course, but we know what happens if the light, the natural light, fades a bit, even with the floodlights on. This issue we've been talking about throughout this game. Mohammed Abbas from the pavilion end moves in now to bowl to Sibley. And Sibley squared up by that one. His natural movement is to play a ball, that's a straight ball into the onside. There's a bit of a way movement and played it back up the pitch, and it's picked up by the bowler.
Simon, you mentioned, it's a great condition to bowl for Mohammed Abbas. I think it's a great condition to any seam bowler to bowl in these conditions. Abbas have ability and skill and all the tricks.
Yeah, he's got the ability to exploit them. got that control. Comes in now, bowls to Sibley, and Sibley pushes that one outside the off stump and misses it. And it's taken by Mohammad Rizwan, leaping in the air. I thought he was going to throw it up for a moment. Rizwan, the only man out this morning, and then finishing it off eventually out for 72. It's interesting to see England's tactics this morning. That they, because it was first up this morning, they didn't push the field back. They kept the field up. They tried to get Rizwan out. And eventually they did.
Great seam position. Wobble seam hitting those areas, and ball was seaming away.
Down the slip cord and go again. The Bass bowls. Oh, past the outside edge again. This is torture. Shouldn't be allowed.
You know, the beauty of these, only we are into second over, but the beauty of these things, these guys make them play every delivery. So they're asking question, hitting those areas, and you hit on the area and ball will do something in these conditions.
It's lovely bowling, it really is.
He has to play this delivery. He has to.
So Rizwan out for 70, then Burns out for naught. Caught it slip by Shafiq. Here is...
Oh, that's good.
Bowling hit him on the pad, it's not out. It goes away into the offside. Sibley there looking to turn into that. It did from our angle. We're a long way away actually in our commentary position here in the hotel. That looked as a good shout against Sibley, but there was no interest in the umpire and there was no thought of a review. As he got his back to us, it's difficult to tell exactly where that struck in. It must have been going down the leg side or a bit high.
From where I'm sitting, I thought it looked close to me. But Sibley stand on the leg stump, and maybe that's why it was going down the leg side.
But you feel at the moment that there could be a wicket any ball. That's the way the game's going. With this new ball, Pakistan, they're keen, they want to get out there, take some wickets. I mean, it's very hard to see them getting into a winning position. Even if wickets fall, there's a lot of work to do for them in this test match. Unless there's a real England collapse here, a huge collapse. Here's Shane Afridi bowling to Crawley, who's forward carefully there. Haven't seen many of those so far, where the ball is roughly hit somewhere in the middle of the bat. There's a check defensive shot from Crawley back up the pitch, and it was picked up by Shaheen Shah Afridi. Not easy being a top order batsman in these conditions. There's poor old Rory Burns. He's waited into the fourth day for his innings, and he's out first over.
It's hard for any opener in the world, you know, in these conditions. It's not easy.
You can't escape between test matches either. You've got to stay here, the players. Here's Afridi bowling very full, and a check defensive shot again from Crawley. Checked push into the offside, and it's picked up in the covers. And there is no run. And Pakistan are on the attack with that short leg in. There's Abid Ali under the helmet at short leg, and 4 slip fielders. That's Shafiq's been in action already with one that was very low to him that he couldn't quite take first ball, and then one that he did take. I say couldn't quite take, it didn't quite carry to him. Crawley, this open stance for the left armour. Coming over the wicket now, goes in and bowls, and Crawley there is he's hoping to get off the mark. In these conditions, you hope something goes your way and slides off the outside edge. Well, it did, and it went down, but it was stopped at 4th slip. So there was no run from Crawley. Third man can be quite a profitable area in these conditions.
That's open stance because of the left arm seamer, or he normally opened that much for the right-handers?
Yeah, it's a good point actually. Whether we'll watch him against Mohammad Abbas, whether he just closes up a bit, but he's quite open for the left armour.
Negotiating that swing, coming back to him.
It's 0 for 1 England in reply to 236. Shaheen bowls, that swings in. Crawley was looking for an off drive there, and then realised the ball was dipping back into him. Again, checked the shot, played it more carefully up towards mid-on. And there is no run.
These are testing conditions, but Shaheen never afraid to pitch the ball up when he got new ball in his hand. So he always looked to take wickets. So that's the good thing about this young guy. He always looked to take wicket, never on a defensive mode.
Well, if only the weather gods would allow us some cricket, we were in for a fascinating day today. Yeah, we've got away with it for the first 50 minutes play. The lights beaming down, shining down on the Ageas bowl. There goes Shaheen bowls to Crawley, wide of off stump this time. Crawley leans forward and lets it go through to Rizwan. Great test for Crawley, talking about, thinking about that maiden test 100. Be a good innings if he makes it in this one.
Yeah, I think I like him. I like his technique. I like his temperament. When he played against West Indies here, he got 50 odd.
Yeah, he got 76 in the second innings, I think it was, from memory. So have a look back. Played very well, actually. Yeah, 76 in the second innings. Here is Shaheen bowling to him. It's full, and he gets his first run. Probably runs past short leg. They've gone for one. They're coming back for the second. They might get three here, actually. And they are coming for the third. Mohammad Abbas sends in the return, low to the base of the stumps. It needed Sibley to get a move on to make it to the striker's end, although actually that was the last ball of the over. So Crawley keeps the strike. He's off the mark with 3. Thickish inside edge off a defensive shot that went quickly past short leg. It wasn't in the air. Abid Ali went to his right, couldn't stop it. So England are underway finally. They are 3 for 1. And they are 233 runs behind.
Best thing was in the last defensive shot, he let the ball come to him and play the ball really late and managed to get 3 runs. Let's see how he stand against Mohammad Abbas here.
The one tactic England used at Old Trafford was to bat. A few batsmen batted out of their creases against Mohammad Abbas. So their interception points worth noting as well. If you just hang back a bit. No, I think Crawley's quite a long way forward. Here is Mohammad Abbas into bowl to him. Oh, that's another beauty. Absolute beauty past the outside edge. Oh, the thing is about Mohammad Abbas, he gets close to the stumps, bowls straight, and if there's a bit of nip, you're in big trouble because you have to play at it.
Yeah, because he used crease as well, so he bowled from different angle at the crease. And look at this one.
Oh, it's gone over the top of off stump.
What you can do as a batsman, you will. Wow, look at that. He done everything right, but the ball done enough to beat his bat.
It's because he is getting so close to the stumps. Well, he did in that one. He does again here. Crawley plays quietly in defence towards mid-on this time. Goes rolling up towards mid-on. And there's no run.
It's 5 plays and misses in the first 7 balls that Mohammad Abbas has bowled today.
Yeah, it's beautiful bowling, and exploiting these conditions. You feel he is the main threat. I mean, there's some significant threat from all the Pakistan seam bowlers, but you feel he's the main threat. Difficult to play. Tight into the stumps, having to play, a little bit of nip. Mohammad Abbas bowls. Crawley gets a straight ball. She turns into the onside for 1. Are they going to come back for the second? Yes, they do. Shaheen Shah Afridi rather goes from mid-on to deepish mid-wicket to pick up. So 2 more to Crawley. Of course, if it doesn't do anything and you bowl a straight ball and it's on middle and leg stump, then you can turn it away. See the umpire there talking about him getting close to the stumps. Umpire at the fire, and Richard Kettle was just checking his follow-through, making sure that he's getting off the pitch, not landing in a notional red zone. Here is Mohammad Abbas bowling wide of off stump. Not such a good delivery to Crawley that time. Perhaps adjusting after the ball before was a bit too straight. And he put it wide, and Crawley ignored it and comes down the pitch to do some gardening.
And we saw the dismissal of Rizwan. He was on 5th thumb down the leg side and seam away. So Abbas was looking from middle and leg stump.
Yeah, they put that red zone on our television monitors now. It might have been a bit of his foot in the first part of it. Abbas goes in, bowls to Crawley, who comes down the pitch there, takes a step down the pitch to meet him. He's a tall man, plays it defensively, back to the bowler, who picks up. And there's no running. It's a pat on the back from his captain, Azhar Ali. What have the Pakistan players been doing? We've heard about what the TMS team have been doing this morning. What have the Pakistan players been doing, Azhar? Do you know?
I think they got game rooms on top of us, and I think there's a pool table as well, and a few of the guys, listening to music and watching YouTube.
Abbas bowls again. Crawley comes down the pitch, but a nip back into him there, strikes him on the thigh pad. and it runs into the offside, and there is no run. So Crawley using that tactic, trying to get well forward against Mohamed Abbas. Quick check on the light meter from umpire Kettleborough, and for now, back in the pocket. The danger of coming down the pitch is that, you know, you do get struck around the body there, and I think he got that one in the stomach or a back or the top of the right hip.
Just enough seam moment, you know, it will just jab back to Crawley's stomach, I would say.
Yeah, both ways. You can do it both ways. 5-1 England. In reply to Pakistan's 236. Broad another wicket this morning. 26 wickets at 12 this summer, since not playing on this ground in the first test. Shaheen goes in, bowls to Crawley. Crawley gets one outside the off stump. He lets it go very close to his off stump, swinging back in. Not swinging back in quite enough for Shaheen Afridi.
It was Sibley.
Sorry, Sibley, yeah. Apologies, Sibley at the far end. Both tall men. But they got a very different way of playing the game, though. A lot of players actually today with their sweaters on a coolish day in Southampton, so not that we need the numbers for the batsmen, but yeah, we can't see the numbers of the players apart from Shaheen Afridi. He's got number 40 on his back as he runs away from us, goes in now and bowls to Sibley. It's full, and Sibley shovels that into the leg side. Not particularly elegant stroke, but it gets him off the mark. Goes out towards deep mid wicket, so he is underway with 2, and England are 7-1. If you want to see the action so far today, you can follow in-play video clips on the BBC Sport website and app. Today at the Test, BBC 4 at 7 o'clock tonight, or later on BBC 2. You can watch it on the iPlayer at your leisure. 7-1. Let's hope we have plenty of highlights to put in tonight. So far so good, but the forecast is not great. Shaheen bowls to Sibley with that very open stance. Sibley lets it go. That climbs as well. We have seen that in this match so far. Lots of bounce for the bowlers. Yeah, taken by Rizwan high up. You'd enjoy bowling on this pitch, Azza, wouldn't you?
I would love to bowl on this pitch. Look at the pitch map here, you know. Everything is around good length area, fuller, 36% of good and 40% of the full.
Sibley waits, bat raised, very open stance. Not quite as open as Fawad Alam, but it is open outside the off stump from Shaheen. And Sibley allows it to go through. Where is Fawad Alam fielding? Is he at backward point?
Yeah. Yes, he is.
So we've got Barbara Azam at first slip, Shafiq at second, Yassir at third, and Shan Masood is at fourth slip.
Yeah.
Abid Ali under the helmet, short leg. Talk about Burns. You know, you wait ages for your bat. There's poor old Fawad who's waited 11 years. And he's out for naught. 4 days, he's done practically nothing. Here's Shaheen bowling, very full, and that swung a long way after it went past the off stump. Sibley let it go, and a spectacular diving take by Rizwan away to his left. Big in swing after the ball had gone past, though. And Sibley played that well. I mean, that delivery, it looked like a nice, tempting ball to drive through the offside, but Sibley denies himself, or genuinely does, until he really gets into his innings.
That's what Shane wants to do. He wants to.
Shaheen moves in again to bowl to Sibley. And Sibley gets a full ball, which he defends back to the bowler, who doesn't field it cleanly. It goes up towards mid-on, where it's picked up by Naseem Shah, and that's the end of the over. It's 7-1. Had 5 overs of England's struggle against this testing new ball pairing. Crawley has 5, Sibley has 2, Burns out for 0, Rizwan out for 72 earlier. More from Azza. And then it will be Atif Nawaz for the first time today.
Yeah, Rizwan, we saw the last delivery. Rizwan kept really well in the last test match. Different conditions, spinning, bouncing, and this pairs, you know, seaming around someone coming from subcontinent. It's not easy to keep wicket here. We saw so many people coming from abroad struggle to kept well in these conditions.
Good morning, Azhar.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very good, Atif. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm enjoying these conditions. As long as they hang in there, as long as they stay exactly as they are, then we'll be okay. I've been enjoying watching Andy Zaltzman's reactions to almost every ball this morning. Well, it's been an exciting session until right about now, and I'm very sad to tell you that, well, the umpires have decided to go off. Well. 7-1 England, 229 runs behind. We've had an hour of play, exactly an hour of play, and that noise you can hear behind me is the hover cover being dragged on by the ground staff. Well, it's hard not to take it personally, really. I just arrived.
That's because of you, Atif.
Just because of me. Just to drown me out. Well, what can you do? It's a lot of frustration around this test match. 1 hour of just scintillating play, so absorbing. And, well, I guess we were spoiled there already. 1 hour of consecutive play here at Southampton. Well, we'll keep talking on 5 Live Sports Extra, digital radio, online and via the BBC Sounds app. But radio for long-wave listeners now, leaving us briefly for the shipping forecast. And, well, it's really frustrating, isn't it, Azhar? I mean, there were so many pockets of time yesterday where we felt like we could have seen cricket quite easily, but it just didn't come through. And yeah, it's quite frustrating really, watching the way the Pakistanis were bowling this morning, exploiting the conditions, even the way Anderson and Broad bowled towards Rizwan. You know, I know he was playing quite a dashing innings, but watching that ball beat the outside edge swinging away, it was quite something.
It's a lot to do with this pitch, you know, and condition as well, underlight, overcast condition. We saw the whole yesterday, the cover was on, there was a lot of moisture on the pitch as well this morning. And what we saw this morning from Pakistan bowlers, they make batsmen play every delivery. You know, we saw from England bowler, they were slightly wider. Yes, I understand if they were bowling to Rizwan because he was trying to get some runs, so it was different condition. But now, looking at these guys, you know, they make him play all the deliveries.
They really have. They put it in that channel where they really want to get a little bit of action from the batsmen. The official word here is rain stop play. Phil Tufnell's with us as well. How are you, Tuffers?
Afternoon, everyone. Azhar, Atif.
How's it going?
Well, it was going lovely, wasn't it? We was enjoying that,
yeah,
weren't
we were really enjoying watching from the balcony, just watching, you know, rushing in to see replays and things like that.
A green top at Southampton doesn't get much better than that, especially with this Pakistan bowling line-up, and then I just sit myself down and they're off again.
It's been exceptionally frustrating, the weather on this.
Yep, it has indeed.
In this test match.
And I'm getting bigger and bigger and bigger because every time I'm not doing anything, I'm just eating chocolate and crisps and everything. We've got to have play. Otherwise I won't be able to get in the bedroom door.
It's extraordinary, really. I mean, there's been a lot of frustrating moments, and you know, there's been a lot of questions asked about the way the game should be run and things like that. And you know, I think enough has been said about that. I think everybody knows the frustration, the suggestions are all out there, and hopefully, you know, those in the administration of the game can take note and try and protect this game of ours from this kind of scenario that we face right now.
Well, yes, I mean, at least it's raining now, though, isn't it? There is a little bit of rain. We've had a look at the maps and everything.
Sure.
There's been some rain knocking about. Hopefully that might move on. But, yeah, certainly the light has been extremely frustrating. But, you know, we can't do nothing about the rain, I'm afraid. So,
well, so we can talk about the rain, we can talk about the weather, but that's not what we're going to talk about for now. For now, we're going to talk about some of the all-time great Pakistani fast bowlers. We've seen some great Pakistani fast bowling today, obviously. I think England will be pleased to have only lost the one wicket. There were a couple of moments there where a second could have fell. We saw Joe Root just waiting on the edge of the balcony as if he was going to be summoned at any moment.